what's up guys? In today's post that you can read down below, I spoke about honoring your biological rhythms as a means to achieving success. I got thinking about biological rhythms and honoring our physiology, especially as it relates to sleep-wake cycles, our circadian rhythm, when asked a question by a young man a few weeks ago at my non-job summit. He stands up and begins to explain how he started on his journey of becoming a stronger version of himself in many regards, but through the advice of one of our favorite YouTube, Instagram motivational celebrities, many of you probably know who it is, but I won't reveal the name here, to go to sleep later at night, midnight, stay up late and crush it, grind it, be a warrior, and go to sleep, and waking up earlier than 5 o'clock. So our friend stood up and said, man, for the past year I've been sleeping less than 5 hours a night. And I'm dying here, he explains. He started to explain all of the symptoms that he began to have since cutting back on his sleep, because he took the advice of a motivational mushmouth who told him not to sleep at night because successful people don't sleep. You gotta want it so bad that you don't sleep at night. This is the type of advice that you get from Mickey Mouse motivators on Instagram, on YouTube. So he stands up and offers his question. What do I do? How do I crush it? How do I become successful while making good where I've destroyed my physiology? That's essentially what it is. A year of not getting enough sleep will destroy you. And if you want to be successful in any realm of life, be it, like I mentioned in this, the title of this video, sex or success, you must begin with self-love. You've got to practice the principles of self-love first. And when I say that, it sounds real hippie-like. Oh, Elliott, what are you going to wear? A flower in your ear and those round, dark sunglasses from now on? The point here is to be completely fucking scientific about becoming successful. And it's scientifically unsound to expect your body to produce vital resources, energy, bodily energy, mental energy, if you ain't fucking sleeping at night. It goes against nature. You understand? Now, of course, there are many people who've written books, and there are many ideas about cyclical, intermittent sleeping and shit like that. Hey, look, that's cool. You can play body hack and mind hack all you want, but walking with God, or walking with the Tao, walking with true nature means paying attention to biological and daily, seasonal, and epic rhythms. You can't disobey laws and expect to always win. It's a shortcut. You don't sleep for a couple of days or a week. Look, you might be able to cram a little bit like these kids do in college in order to study for their tests, but it's going to catch up on you. It's going to catch up very quickly, and the symptoms, my friend, will not be of your liking. You'll begin to wonder why you're catching colds. You'll begin to wonder why your muscles don't recover. You'll begin to wonder why, although your girlfriend is beautiful and seductive, why your hammer stays limp. Do you understand? So today, I'm going to talk about 6 principles of self-love that improve sexual energy. Because you need to understand that the vital resource that keeps us grinding, that keeps us going, that keeps us energized, that keeps us joyful, comes from our belly, our sexual energy. The Chinese, or in Taoist medicine and martial arts and whatnot, they call that position down between your perineum and your belly button the lower dantian. We can refer to it as the bio battery, because scientifically it produces a tremendous amount of lively hormones. Hormones that repair, right? All your anabolic, your sex hormones, right? That help repair your body and help you, really feel your oats come from your sexual glands. So, of course, taking good care of your body supports the production of sexual energy, which supports the vitality of your body, which will support your ability to think clearly, sharply, and succeed on any playing field. Beginning with principle number 1. I spoke yesterday about reframing your problems. Well, essentially what I was referring to yesterday is the principle of keeping your stress low. Stress, mental stress, your thoughts. That's really the first principle. Because if you can't have a good conversation with yourself, then how do you expect to ever have a good enough conversation to close a deal with someone else? How do you expect to have a good enough conversation to say hello and seduce a partner into sexual relations? How can you keep good relationships with the people that you love if you're not having good conversations with yourself, right? Your career won't advance, your sex life won't advance, and your relationships will suffer if you harbor negative thoughts. I won't go any further because the majority of the videos on this channel revolve around that topic, and you can simply click back to yesterday's video about reframing problems in order to get on the right path for that principle. Principle number 2 is going to be diet. Now, I'm not going to go too deep in diet because diet's one of these things like religion. People get real uncomfortable with any criticism of their diet philosophy or religion. And it happens to be one of those things that we become personally invested in because we've got to do it all day long. So my only question to you with regard to diet is, how is that working out for you? Have you chosen to be a vegan? Well, great, that might be just fine for you. How's it working out for you? Do you have more energy or less energy? Are you sleeping better or are you sleeping worse? Are you hungry all the time and have headaches? Or do you feel vibrant and vital? Is your sex drive improved? Or have you lost your libido? These are all questions to ask yourself in order to gauge whether or not your chosen diet choice is of any value to you. It's just one of these strange things where we got to get out of our own heads and actually listen to our bodies. Regardless of the religion that you've adopted, you got to ask yourself, is this thing helping us or is it hurting us? Okay? So with diet, be mindful. I will say that it is a principle to eat whole foods. So do your best. The next one would be hydration. It astonishes me how many people don't even drink water. I've ranted about this in many videos. I've made several videos about drinking water. You can watch some of those. But at the same time, we still have people who think that Gatorade and coffee and sugary, bubbly drinks are going to support them on their journey by offering some sort of magical hydration electrolyte mixture, or the promise of more energy and friendship, like have a Coke and a smile, right? Again, all up in the head. One of the ways to gauge whether or not your diet and your hydration, your food and drink is supporting you is your digestive health. Are you constipated? Right? Because if you're constipated, it means you haven't taken a shit yet today. And if you haven't taken a shit for a couple of days, you start to pile up with shit. And then when someone says you're full of shit, they'd be completely accurate. Are you drinking enough water to make sure that the food passes through? Are you eating enough whole foods to have the fiber associated with healthy digestion? Again, I am not giving you any bullet points to follow. I'm saying pay attention to your body. The next one would be exercise, and exercise is the same damn thing. You've got kettlebell Nazis, and you got people who do nothing but bodybuilding and call everything else hippie workouts. Well, look, how's that working out for you? We could use the same gauge. Is your workout supporting your mechanics? Is your workout supporting your body fat percentage or your ratio of muscle to body fat? Is your exercise program supporting your energy? Or do your workouts drain you and you can't recover for 3 days, right? You could be crushing it in the gym like I used to. You know, by the way, all of my advice, all of my ideas in these videos typically come from me making mistakes in the past, me learning things along the way, me finding tips and tricks that helped me as I was struggling on this journey. One thing for sure, I know how to abuse myself with barbells and stones and tires. But it's dawned on me, it's been my experience, that the less I abuse myself in the gym, the more successful I am in other areas of my life. I'm more available to have loving relations with my wife. I'm more available energy-wise and mental-wise for my children and my friends and my co-workers. I have more energy to make these videos. I have more energy for my creative work, my daily writing. So the exercise program that I engage in today has to support those things I value in my life. And beating the fuck out of myself with heavy barbells doesn't support the strongest version of who I'm becoming. So my exercise is like medicine, as I believe yours should be. If you're a football player in high school, well then by golly, you ought to do some heavy squats. On the other hand, the type of work that I do requires that I have an adequate amount of energy and the capacity to breathe fully. That's the other thing you've got to consider with regard to biological rhythms, as well as your muscular skeletal system. You know, are you free enough to breathe deeply? Can you breathe into your balls? Is it mechanically possible for you? For a lot of people, it isn't. One of my friends I worked with, one of the interns at the gym I worked with the other day, I asked him to do some deep belly breathing, and he had a complete reverse breathing pattern. He couldn't breathe into his balls. It just took a simple reframing of the breathing mechanism, showing him that, you know, we want to inhale first with the belly about 1/3 of the way, then begin, or 1/3 of the way, I believe, and then you begin to expand your upper body 2/3. You know, we begin with our belly, and then the rib cage begins to expand. Most people breathe up here and suck their belly in, right? So the mechanics are off. So that brings us to, so we did exercise. The next would be rhythms, and rhythms are heavily discussed in my blog post down below as it relates to sleep and rest. We've got biological rhythms like your heart health, you know. We can consider the rhythm of your heart an indicator of good health. If you have high blood pressure, that means your rhythms are a little bit off. The rhythm of your digestion. Again, I mentioned constipation, but there should be a rhythm of food in, food out. But if you're going food in, food in, food in, food in, and nothing out, your rhythms are a little screwed up. We don't take it into great consideration, but annual rhythms play a tremendous part in how we feel and our success in the world. If you realize that, you know, during summertime you have a tendency to change, which is normal because even the nature changes around us, or as fall comes around and winter time comes about, if your energy seems to recede, you feel like you're going in a little bit. Some people call it depression, which is an accurate way of describing the energy receding. But be aware of it. Know that every year around this time I start to head into a sort of depression. Head it off at the pass by recognizing, boy, it might mean that, you know, during this time of the year I should change my diet a little bit. Maybe eat more hearty, healthy foods as opposed to, you know, fruits and light foods that I would eat during the year. I'm not telling you what to do during the summer. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just telling you, you know, these are things that you might want to pay attention to. The clock changes this time of year. Are you sure you've got your sleep set up so that you're getting adequate amounts of it? Right? Are you taking the right supplements? From what I understand, by taking fish oil supplements in darker times of the year supports our brain health because we're not getting the vitamin D from the sunshine. Just take notice. And of course, I'll throw in the hippie idea of epochs or epics, right? Epoch, an epoch, you know, or generations. I don't even have to go that far. Generations. There's rhythms in history, human history. We can look at our history books and recognize where we are, you know. Many people relate to the rise and fall of the Roman Empire as it relates to where we find ourselves in the American Empire right now, you know. There are some parallels to when Rome was at its height and when it was starting to see its decline. This is normal and natural. Everything that rises falls. The U.S. has been on an incline for many years, but there are those that believe that the signposts are shining, that perhaps we're at a plateau or descend in, you know. Of course, that's a lot of opinion, and there are experts that are better suited to advise you on that, but just recognize that there are rhythms. Empires rise and fall, so on and so forth. And then finally, breathing as a common thread throughout all. Your breathing will be affected by your mental stress, but your ability to breathe will handle your mental stress. You'll be better at dealing with mental stress. Your diet affects your breathing. I mean, just take notice. Take notice of how you breathe when you drink caffeine. Hydration, again, there's a sympathetic response to being dehydrated, which will affect your breathing. Exercise, of course, we know that because we breathe while we exercise, either be it cardiovascularly or with the Valsalva maneuver while we're moving heavy weights. Rhythms, obviously, because there's an inhalation and an exhalation all day long. Do you recognize your breathing rhythm? Are you in accordance with healthy breathing rhythms? That's it. So those are the 6 principles for sex, money, and self-love. You want to be a success in any area of your life, you've got to begin with your health. You've got to begin with becoming a stronger version of yourself first. You might think of yourself as a warrior by abusing your body, but that's just called masochism. A true warrior is devoted to his body. He's disciplined about the foods he eats, the water he drinks, and the rhythms in his life. And he's very decisive about what it is he wants in life and all the commitment associated with getting it done.